Hello everybody, and I'm back. Today our decision for dinner was lasagna because we love it, the kids love it, we enjoy it. This recipe we have has a lot of ingredients, a lot, so you have to be really patient with it. I'm gonna write all of them down so that you can have an idea of what I use. Normally I use carrots that are chopped, mushrooms or what you call champignon, onions, that is 2 onions, shredded garlic, if you can see. I have parsley, I have basilicum. I like to use fresh, but I didn't find, so I have dried basilicum. I have some fennel seeds. I have oregano, chili paste. I have 2 boxes of tomatoes. You can use fresh tomatoes if you have time to chop them. That will be about 4 or 5 large tomatoes. So I use 2 of these. And then to thicken the sauce, I use tomato puree. I will see if I need 2 of this, depending on how thick the sauce will be. And then sometimes I use the umami to savor the sauce. If I have too much sweetness, I savor it with umami. I have honey or sugar. Both of them tweak the sauce differently, so I will decide what I will use. Then I have salt and pepper and butter. So the first thing I start with is some oil. I use extra virgin olive oil on the pan. I'll show you later. I'll turn the camera down so that you can see how it looks. So I use a little butter, just like a very thin slice, because when I mix butter and oil, the butter can withstand very high heat without you know, the way butter turns out, it burns if you have very high heat. So I melt the butter together with the oil, and the first thing I will add is the carrots, because they are a bit harder and they need more time to cook. And the reason why I have also butter is because this mushroom or champignon tastes very good when it's mixed with butter. I forgot to tell you, this is a meat lasagna, so I will use minced meat from beef. That's what I normally like to use, but yeah, I can make vegetarian, but this is meat because my kids love this so much. So I will fry the meat later before I mix it to this sauce. So as the carrots are frying, I'll take the mushroom or the champignon. I actually have extra, so I'll just add it in there. They shrink, they almost disappear. So, and you see that I have very tiny cubes of it. This was because I got used to this way because my kids never liked mushroom, and they did not know that every time I cooked this food, I had mushroom inside. So they always say like, oh, I don't like mushroom. I say, but you've been eating mushroom all the time. Have I? Of course you have. Then now they are okay with it. They like it since they realize that they've been eating it anyway. So I've been tricking the kids a lot, a lot, a lot. I think you can see. This is mushroom and carrots cooking very, very, very nicely. It already smells good, and I haven't even had anything in it yet. When I'm satisfied with the way the mushroom looks, I will add the onion, which I have on the side here. Okay, now I'm satisfied with the way this mushroom and carrot looks like. So I'm gonna add onions, as you can see. They weren't large onions, they were just 2 average size onions, but it depends on what you prefer. You can always put as much as you prefer. Some people prefer a lot of onions. Just remember, onions make you fat, so if you have a lot, you better make sure your spouse does not suffer the consequences of your onion eating competition. I have to cool myself down with some juice. The onions do not have to brown, they just have to be blank. And you can also add garlic at that point. Actually, garlic has been grated. I have a tiny little grater that I use for garlic. I like cute kitchen equipment. Actually, sometimes I just buy them because they're cute, not because they are convenient. The onion is about to get blank. It's gonna take a little bit more minutes. And when I say blank, I mean like, because it's red onions, the color should disappear almost. Not satisfied. I want the onion to be blanker. Hey, I've had somebody called Blanca. I know somebody called Blanca, but that's not what I meant. I meant like blank, almost transparent. Smells amazing. So right now, I think the onion is blank enough. What I'm going to do now I'm gonna add these two boxes or cans. I say boxes because that's what you call them in Norwegian, like boxer, but or what do you call them? But anyway, these two cans of tomatoes, I'm gonna add them on it. They are already chopped into they're almost brown. So that's why I like to buy them, because I don't like chopping tomatoes this far. It's a lot of work, and also it's for the sauce, so I don't mind them being this well chopped, almost like ground or grated or almost like puree. Remember, this is just for the lasagna sauce. This is what is gonna cook the lasagna pasta, which I forgot to show you. I'm sorry, but this is what I use. I use that already pre-bought. They are hard. This is just like pasta, spaghetti, whatever. But when I put them in the oven, they will cook. This sauce will help them to cook. You can also buy fresh ones that are softer, but I like to buy this because I found out that this Barilla, they are the best made. I love them. So they will get help from this sauce to cook. I'm gonna increase the heat to cook it. Now you can have as high heat as you will manage to control, putting in the spices. Actually, the higher the better, because later you will reduce the heat so that you don't overcook the other herbs and the spices. Remember, I haven't put salt, I haven't put pepper yet. Cooking the tomatoes a little bit before I add one box of puree. If it's not enough, I will add the other one, because I will see how thick the sauce is. This one makes the sauce really thick. Who remembers the song of Nilikuwa na mchumba wangu, tulikutana, tulipendana kama nyama choma. Sasa nyama choma na nini? It's like nyama choma. Roasted meat. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, it's time to chug in the puree. If I can manage to open it, there. I'm gonna put the entire, this is like, how many grams, so that I give you the picture. It's 180 grams. This is 180 grams. So it doesn't hurt if you put 200 grams or 250 if you want. It will just thicken the sauce even more and add to the tomato taste, which is not bad. Now almost lost it, but yeah, one box is there, or one can, or whatever you call it. Norwegian has corrupted my English, so I apologize if you hear some Norwegian words. We speak Norwegian every day, so sometimes it's a mixture of Norwegian and English here. You can see the tomato puree has already thickened the sauce a lot. Remember, even though you want the sauce thick, you should have enough fluid to be able to cook this lasagna. I don't know what you call them, but lasagna plates or lasagna, because you see they can break. They are hard, like pasta, like spaghetti. I don't mind breaking one of them because I normally break them when I'm assembling now the entire, the final step before I put them in the oven. My head is telling me to add a little bit of like two teaspoons of tomato puree. I don't mind adding a little bit. Then I just you have to do a lot of tasting on this one. My father used to say that never ask a person who works in the kitchen if they have eaten. Because all the tasting, you bought 1 kilo of meat, by the time it gets to the table, it's half a kilo. Hey. The only reason I'm tasting now is to find out if the tomato has cooked a little bit. It doesn't taste much, but right now I'm gonna reduce the heat to about 4, and then I'm gonna start now adding the flavors, all the spices. So I'm gonna add parsley. It's just about like, let's say two tablespoons, finely chopped. I don't want to waste anything, so I put all of it. I'm gonna add basilicum. I don't know how it's called in English, but basilicum, I'll find out. And then basil, I think. Yeah, it's basil. Yeah. So I did not find fresh, so I'm gonna add like dried, but because it's dried, I don't know how strong it is, so I'm not adding all of it. I'm adding like 1.5 teaspoon. And then these fennel seeds, it's supposed to be the secret ingredient, but if you add fennel seeds on your lasagna, I assure you everybody will be asking you what you put there. This one, sometimes you bite into them when you're eating, and they add an extra edge to your taste buds, and they smell amazing. So I'm adding like I'm adding all of it, like 4 pinches, or let me say 2 teaspoons. Already I can smell the dish. Smells amazing. And you see the thickness is just exactly, maybe too thick. We'll see if I need to add some fluid. At this point, I take a teaspoon of sugar, because here you want to balance between the sweet and the savory. So sugar is my sweet, and savory I will use maybe umami. Okay, I said a teaspoon. Okay, that's about enough. Just a little, so that the food isn't sweet, totally sweet, but you can taste some sweetness in it. This is food for your cheat day. Don't eat this when you are planning to eat healthy all week. I'm not saying it's totally unhealthy, but you can see it's a lot of ingredients, and we have cheese and all that can mess up with your calories if you are a person who likes to watch a lot of calories and all that. But for one day, a weekend, a Saturday, why not eat good food? deny yourself fringe benefits. Huh? So as I'm doing this, I have to keep tasting. Just a little, so that I don't end up with half a kilo of meat. I can already taste some sweetness. I can already taste the fennel seeds. I can taste the parsley, basilicum, basil. Now we're gonna balance everything. This is chili. I have this type of chili which I just drop a few drops. You can put any amount of chili you want. For me, I like tasting some chili. And then for oregano, I'm gonna put a little. Oregano can be quite strong. I remember one day I was still very new here in Oslo, and there was a knock on the door while I was making food, and the neighbor came to complain that I used a lot of oregano. And I was like, bro, dude, hell no, I didn't even use oregano. I think maybe some neighbors somewhere were using oregano or something, or that dude was just delusional. But I always remember that story, and I think oregano smells great. Maybe he just wanted food. So this is some pepper. I just add a little bit. It's like half a teaspoon. I don't measure it exactly. I measure it with my eyes. It looks a lot like it, but it's not. And then the same with the salt. I like to count. Those are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20. Okay. Sorry you can't completely see my face all the time, but I really need to show you what's happening down here instead of just talking. And also, you guys, I'm sure most of you know how I look like. It's tasting time again. Now I have to add a little bit of salt, pepper, and chili. This is something that you just need to balance yourself. You don't need like a whole course on exactly how much spices you need to have. It's just like tasting and trying to see. That's what I do at this point. So I'm gonna keep doing that until it tastes perfect. I think you should also do the same if you're considering to make this meal. And this is the point where also I should think about frying the meat and getting it ready, because it will go in here. And the reason why you need a lot of spices here, because when you're frying the meat, you are not adding anything there. So all the meat will be mixed here, and it will need all the spices you have already made so that it can have some taste too. Okay guys, now I've come to the second part of this lasagna making project. As you can see, the game has changed. Now I'm going to make the white sauce. The white sauce we normally use to cover it before we put the cheese and put it in the oven. So to make this white sauce, I need whole milk, a little bit of it. I use Parmesan cheese. This is 200 grams, but I use just 100 grams. Normal white cheese, you can you don't have to use it, but I normally add it because, like I said, I'm crazy about ingredients. And then I use use muscat, nutmeg. This is what you call nutmeg. I'll just use a little bit of it because it's very strong in flavor. So I chop the parmesan into small slices, and likewise I chop the other cheese into cubes. It will melt inside, and I use butter. I always use butter when I'm doing this because it enhances the taste. I'm looking for this. This is going to go very fast, so I don't have time to waste. I have also thickening with the wheat flour. So what I'm going to do, just try and reduce the heat a little bit because this is going to go in very high speed. I don't even have time to show you exactly, but I'll explain what I'm doing. I take like about 1.5 or 2 teaspoons of butter. Oil. As you can see, the butter is already burning. I keep the milk ready because immediately I put the wheat flour, I have to stir it so that it does not thicken. I put like 2 tablespoons, 2.5 tablespoons, and then I start stirring immediately into the butter as I slowly add the milk. You have to do it so fast that it mixes perfectly into a smooth mixture. Keep adding the milk because it gets very thick and you can't even move. And remember, apart from the wheat flour, the cheese will add the thickness. So what I do is I have the heat on the lowest or very low, because if you put high heat, this will burn. I add a little bit more milk because when I put the cheese, it will be very thick and tasty. And now when everything has mixed into a smooth mixture, I can show you it's still a little bit runny, which is okay because it will become thick afterwards. I need this spoon for later. So everything is mixed up there. What I do, I add pepper, or what the regions call pepper. Just enough. I don't measure it, I just know, you know, I'm a natural. And then I add some salt. Remember, the lasagna also had a lot of salt, so there's some salt to taste. I stir it, but don't forget to always be stirring because it gets thicker. Even with the low heat, you can forget and it sticks and burns and smells bad. You have to start afresh. This is easy to mess up, very easy to mess up. And then I take the nutmeg. For Norwegians, the muscat. Kama pussycat bwana. It's almost like pussycat, but yeah, muscat. I take a little bit, like it's very little, like not even a teaspoon, because it has a very distinct taste or smell. It's an amazing one. For those suffering with the libido issues, I heard that this nutmeg, this one, it can increase your libido. I don't know. Google it if you need extra spice. But anyway, it's getting very thick, so I'm gonna add a little bit of milk. And then this is where now the cheese comes in. I start with the Parmesan. It will just melt. That's why you need very, very low heat, because you're not going to cook the cheese. You're just going to melt the cheese. I add the other white cheese. You can literally just find any type of white cheese and it will fit there. But if you mix it with the Parmesan, it adds extra spice or taste. So basically, the white sauce, after the cheese has melted, the white sauce is ready, and we are ready to start doing the final step, which is now assembling the lasagna. Meanwhile, before you start with the white cheese, make sure the oven is on at around 200 degrees, 180 degrees, between 180 and 200. That's good enough. And the lasagna will go in the oven for until the cheese is golden brown, perhaps 20 minutes, and that will give time for the pasta to cook. All the cheese is almost melting. Don't worry if you remain with some chunks of cheese; they will melt in the oven too. I assure you they will. Hey, let me cool myself down. It's nothing special, it's just mango juice. I had to put it on this glass because you guys will criticize me if I drink it in a cup of tea. Not cup of tea, teacup. Anyhow, I'm gonna taste if I had enough salt. Ooh, did you see the thickness? It's just, oh God. This recipe I was taught by Kim. For those who know who Kim is, my man, my savior. It's amazing. Just needs a little bit of more salt. That's because I've also tasted the sauce and I know that they will balance well. Now, I'm done with all the cooking, except for when the oven will do the rest of the work for me. I was doing all the prep so that the oven can take the rest. So, I'm going to show you how I assemble the lasagna. And for this, I'm taking this meat sauce, which I prepared first. These lasagna plates, or what you call lasagna something. I say plate because in Norwegian they say platter, and I don't know how to translate that. I'll find out, and then I tell you. They don't even have a translation in English here. But anyway, this lasagna pasta, it's pasta basically. I'm gonna use that, and then to cover it up on top, I will use cheddar cheese, grated cheddar cheese, and not forgetting the sauce which I made, the white sauce before the cheddar cheese. So I'm gonna start right now, but remember the meat has some fluid in it so that it will cook the pasta. I take the first layer. This is a layered dish. Some people have asked me, are you sure your food tastes good? Because we are not tasting it, because we are just watching. I'm like, what do you think? Would I spend all this time with all these ingredients to make bad food? At At least the ones who have eaten the food have said it tastes good, unless they're lying to me. And then I take one. I always use 5 per layer. So I take 5 of them and I arrange them. Just try to cover the meat. Okay, I normally cut this one to fill the middle because I want enough pasta to complement the meat. Then I go to layer number 2. It's still the meat. I don't know how many layers I'll get today, but sometimes I get 3 or 4 layers depending on the type of container I use, how big it is, and how much meat. Make sure you cover the pasta very well with the meat so that it can soak all the fluid, because it's very bad to eat lasagna when the pasta is like chewy. At least I don't like it. I like it well done. I almost like everything well done. Okay, so the second layer has been covered with the meat. I take my 5 pasta plates. Again, oh, I had cut one in the beginning, so I can use that one. Cut it in 2. It's very easy to cut. That's why I like this barilla. It's very easy to cut. Like that. Then another layer. Food is almost ready, you know. Dinner is almost served. It's not long. Just looks like a long process, but actually you don't have to go through all the things I've gone through. We are people who love a lot of flavors and eating and guessing what flavors we are tasting and all that. So that's why we use a lot of things. But the fennel seeds, those ones on lasagna, they just do it for me. So that's, what layer are we on? The third one? Still layering. Maybe I should have put on this way, but then I would have used a lot of them. But yeah, why not? I can go this way. It just depends on the type of container you have. I prefer my other one. This one is now becoming rocket science. So, and then I just divide it into 2. Like that. Mark you, I never knew what lasagna was before I came to Norway. These are not dishes that we used to eat when we grew up. I know many people will agree with me. And still, many people still don't eat it in Kenya. But I like to try foods from all over the world, as long as it's not like weird stuff like sheep balls, or people eat the eye of I don't know what. Now, try to distribute the meat evenly. Mostly the moisture in the meat will cook the pasta. So the meat is done. The final layer, I will just put a little bit, just because I don't have any more meat to cover it, but I'm gonna use the white sauce. It's called white sauce. I don't know, cheese sauce, you can call it cheese sauce, you can call it, but it's white with some drops of chili and nutmeg. Oops. I don't mind making a mess in the kitchen, so long as I clean it, or people who eat clean afterwards. I cook, you clean. So I'm gonna pour all this white sauce. You can see the consistency. It's still hot, and that is even so good for the pasta which was laid on top without the meat. I make sure I have all the sauce. Don't make so much, just enough to cover the entire surface like this. I hope you can see everything, because remember, if you have questions, ask me. I'll find a way you can ask me or comment. Just don't hesitate to communicate. So because I'm not going to return this there, I can lick it. Now, go to the cheddar cheese. This is 200 grams, so I have two, so it's 400 grams. You don't have to use both of them, but I always have to exaggerate. You think my body is made of wood? It's made of these things. Eh? It's made of cheese and good food, for those who are wondering. Plus hormones. I think hormones have a lot to do with it. But anyway, jokes aside, no, jokes not aside, I like to joke. I have to joke. That's the way I am. As you can see, 1 packet of cheddar almost fills the entire thing. So I'm just gonna use probably half of this. So around 300 grams of cheddar cheese is enough. And also, you don't have to use cheddar. I just love cheddar because of the color. It's radiant. It becomes crispy on top. It's like, it's the perfect cheese for this. I'm using all of it, because if I leave it there, we might end up throwing it away. So it's better we throw it in our stomachs. I hope you can hear me, because I got a feedback last time that I wasn't talking loud enough, but I think I always talk loud enough. I don't need a mic. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this lasagna is ready to be put in the oven, and it will be there for about 15 to 20 minutes, or until I'm satisfied that the cheese looks exactly the way I want it to look, and then I will show you how I serve it. So I'm gonna put it in the oven. I don't know if it's too high. I'm reducing. It was 200, I put it to 180, so that it doesn't burn the cheese before whatever is down there cooks. But the oven has been warm for a long time, so this will go well. So I'll show you when it's done. Don't go away, I'll be back. Or what do they say? All Kenyans, all the time. See you back. So about 20 minutes has gone since the lasagna went to the oven. So I'm gonna get it up. Ooh. Ooh, careful. Damn, just look at that color. Ain't it amazing? Ain't it amazing? Ah, I can't hold it. Smells good. Hopefully tastes good. Normally I serve this with salad, but since I didn't have salad and I have a little cucumber, just to give it a little bit of color. There. Ooh, you see, this is the white sauce. I'm gonna taste. Pasta's cooked. I nailed it. Hope you'll try it. Send me comments or whatever. I'm gonna go eat dinner. Ciao.